Upon completing this quest, you will be able to undertake Crystarium deliveries for the facet of fishing. You must be a fisher of level 70 or above to proceed. Level 70. Well, eel be damned. Frithric is a man in need of a friend and fish. Hello there. I don't believe I've had the pleasure. You must be here to join the facet of fishing, yes? Oh goodness, that was awfully presumptuous of me. We've had so few applicants recently. I got rather carried away. Fishers of the Mean and surrounding villages have made me their representative, you see, although I soon discovered the post to be a little more bothersome than I was expecting. I'd much rather be reeling in fish than scrolling numbers in a ledger, but such is life. It's my responsibility to ensure that the citizenry have a steady supply of freshwater and saltwater foodstuffs, which is not a task to be taken lightly. See, while we are able to produce fruits and vegetables within the Crystarium, fish are a little harder to procure. Trouble is, we tend to eat the same things day in, day out, so I've been researching other species that could be used to supplement our diets. In fact, I'll be sharing my latest findings with other members. Would you care to join me? Excellent. I'll meet you in the Sullen, and look out for fishers casting their lines. There's nothing quite like a hook in the eye to ruin your day. I think we need a fishing title. Dragon's Deep. There we go. All right. Go to Sullen. I would have liked to have stocked up for the fish for this beforehand. But I don't think we can actually acquire the fish until we've accepted the quest. So we're just going to have to do it as we go. We haven't done fishing in a while, so. Do, do, do. Yeah. Isn't this wonderful? I never tire of gazing across the source. Did you know that most of the fish eaten in the Crystarium come from these waters? Fortunately, my newfound duties prevent me from coming here as often as I'd like. My eyes deceive me. Could it be that our illustrious leader has found the time in his busy schedule to pay us a visit? No doubt he'll have more words of wisdom to impart. I wish only to diversify the types of fish delivered to the Crystarium, and for that I need your cooperation, as we discussed before. Diversify? Are you saying our catches aren't good enough? I've been earning a living here since you were but a cub, so don't tell me how to do my job. As for you, I'd advise giving this one a wide berth before he starts filling your head with all sorts of nonsense. He wouldn't even be in charge if it weren't for that one spell of good luck. There are dozens of honest fishers better suited to the position, and none of them would waste their time on wild theories and myths. He'd have us risking our necks in some wretched hellhole trying to catch a species that, for all we know, might not even exist. I'm already providing the people of the Crystarium with all the fish they need, so why change things? Listen, Frithric, the best thing you can do is stay out of our way. Why don't you go back to your books while we get on with some real work? Sorry you had to see that. Seems that Merville is in no mood to hear my proposal. Perhaps you'd be more receptive to my ideas. There's something I'd like to show you if you're interested. What a relief. To be honest, I don't think my heart could bear any more rejection. Anyway, I'll meet you at the Cabinet of Curiosity. Get it over with already. I want to go catch some fish. I'm way behind on my fishing. I've caught all the Realm Reborn ones, but I really slacked off on Heaven's Word. Only thing I enjoy more than fishing is getting engrossed in a good book. Come to think of it, that's partly the reason why I became representative for the facet of fishing in the first place. You see, I discovered some long-forgotten methods for increasing the average yield per fisher. I put these techniques to the test, and they were even more effective than I could have dreamed. One thing I hadn't taken into account, however, is that the person with the highest number of catches is put in charge for the following season. As fate would have it, turned out to be me. I soon found my new role to be a proverbial poisoned chalice, and the more experienced members rejected my every suggestion, no matter how minor. I can understand the desire to maintain the status quo, but I'm afraid that is actually the cause of a much larger problem facing our people. Citizens young and old throughout the Crystarium are suffering from a range of potentially serious illness. Thankfully, most of them don't appear to be contagious, though that merely serves to deepen the mystery of how they are contracted to begin with. After a considerable amount of research, I came to the conclusion that poor diet is to blame in many cases. People around here tend to eat what they want when they want, which leads them to missing vital nutrients contained in the less appetizing dishes. In other words, these conditions can be cured simply by consuming the right kinds of food. For example, eating 8-eyes eels is apparently the ideal treatment for a condition known as shadow blindness. Many people lack the ability to see well in the dark, which was until recently believed to have been caused by the unrelenting glare resulting from the flood, but it seems to have been a common problem long before that. This is just one of many afflictions mentioned in these ancient tomes. Most entries have a list of possible treatments, many including the names of certain fish. I intend to catch these and distribute them throughout the Crystarium. Of course, there'll never be enough for everyone unless the rest of the facet cooperates. If only they'd listen to me. To tell the truth, I feel like you're the only one who sees my side of the argument. If you were anything like the others, you'd have told me to go away by now. Would you be willing to aid me in my endeavors? You would. I don't know what to say. Perhaps I should start by making you an honorary member of the facet of fishing and giving you an assignment. If you make it official, you'll receive payment for any order successfully fulfilled. One thing we're not short on is coin, I assure you. Before we can begin, I need to get the necessary paperwork in order, so let's meet back at the mean. I'll try to have everything ready before you arrive. To the mean. Now that all that trifling details have been taken care of, you're ready to fulfill your first order. You remember the 8-eyes eels I mentioned earlier? Well, as it turns out, there are a few shadow blindness patients who could benefit from adding these blood-sucking nightmarish creatures to their diet. And that's where you come in. I'd like you to catch as many of these as you can. Not only will the eels themselves attempt to latch onto your flesh and drain you of your bodily fluids, the area surrounding the lake they inhabit is full of deadly predators. Naturally, they'll try to eat you as well. We fishers normally aim to have safety in numbers, but you'll be alone, I'm afraid. But I'm sure a strapping woman like you will be perfectly fine. Remember, though, you'll be risking life and limb. Those poor souls who struggle to see well in the dark will be overjoyed. Level 70. Well, eel be damned. Complete. Quest complete. Facet of fishing. Crystarium deliveries unlocked. Crystarium delivery commenced. Facet of fishing deliveries are now available. Blah, blah, blah. Steam. What do we need? 6 8-eye eels. Many fishers avoid waters known to contain 8-eye eels, like the Rift of Sighs, but the nutritional benefits they offer are worth the risk. And by that, I mean the risk of them cutting holes in your flesh and drinking your blood. Facet of fishing from fishers, esteem level, so they don't need to be like collectibles. Then. The one thing I wasn't sure of. I did try fishing for them already and was unable to catch any. caught just about everything else right there. So I just assume, and there's not much information online, so I just assume that like the quest has to be open for you to be able to catch them. Guess we'll find out. That I just had really bad luck. Must have cast about 30 times. Hope this doesn't drag on too long. We only need 6. It did occur to me my eye level might be too high to catch a low level fish. Because I'm wearing all level 90 gear. This side. All right, let's give this a shot. We need fruit worm, and we're just gonna cast it first. We can pull one. We can get at least 3 or 4. Nope, hard candy. Hard candy. That's all I'm gonna get. It's supposed to be like the easiest one to catch. Okay, let's try something. I'm not faring any better than I had been. You need to be 280. Now we're at a lower eye level. Maybe this will help. Nothing so far. All right. Let me use patience. Patience. Patience too. Oh, because my eye level's too low. Yay, we got one. Well, identical cast. Only get one. Come on, give me another one. I don't know if changing the eye level helped any or not. Just need 2 more. That's not it. There we go. Get. That's 6. Okay. Good enough. I don't know if that did any good or not, but we got there. So. Here you go, Frithric. Okay, we already read that. Liver. I say, this one must have been quite the bloodthirsty glutton in a very literal sense before you managed to reel it in. Frithric's esteem for you has grown. Deliver the items Frithric needs and deliver them off and improve your standing with the facet of fishing. Thank you for your hard work. I believe we have a sufficient number of 8-eyes eels for the time being. I don't think I mentioned this, but the people I use to test the treatment for shadow blindness are acquaintances of mine who work in the Cabinet of Curiosity. Old books must be kept out of light if at all possible, so not being able to see in the dark poses something of a problem. Curators have already started eating their eels, although we'll need to wait and see if they have the desired effect. Of course, they welcomed the chance to try something different from the usual fare caught at the source. Not only that, they were extremely satisfied with the taste. Speaking of something different, I think it's high time we had you cast your line in new waters. Having said that, I'm still investigating which condition we should attempt to treat next. In the meantime, perhaps you could hone your skills in preparation for the challenges that lie ahead. Facet of fishing, Frithric. Accept. Steam level increase. Frithric now considers you a fisherman's friend. Frithric is pleased with your efforts. He now considers you a fisherman's friend. Okay, let's take the next one. Zilly, I was hoping you would stop by, for I have most welcome news. The course of eels we recommended to the curators of the Cabinet of Curiosity has done all we could have hoped for and more. Some of them claim they can even read in the dark now. Anyway, word of this treatment has spread throughout the city and appears to have found its way to the ears of my compatriots in the facet of fishing. Fortunately, most of them remain convinced that I'm unfit to act as their leader, so I asked the chirurgeons of Spagarix if there are any other diseases that they could have difficulty treating. They say that a lot of people come to them complaining of rashes and so on. However, a few of those patients have also taken to eating all sorts of strange things, such as coal and paper. After consulting the Cabinet of Curiosity, I learned that these symptoms often occur in those who lack meat and dairy in their diets. First, I didn't see any way for the facet of fishing to help, but after a little more digging, I found that these types of food are rich in zinc. Do you know what else is rich in zinc? Creamy oysters. Unfortunately, they can be hard to come by unless you go all the way to Kalusia, but being the helpful sort you are, you'd be willing to go and snag some, wouldn't you? Splendid, I'm sure the chirurgeons would be thrilled once Spagarix is free of paper-munching patients. Thorium delivery commenced. I don't think any of these need to be collectibles, right? Read that when we get back. Go to Kalusia. It's probably near the beginning. Level 72. 32. They're like way over here. Okay, we'll come to this. We need shrimp. Confeto. Okay, like 33. Where's up here? Can't go any further. Running along the beach now. Alright, we'll try it here. We're looking for a creamy oyster, right? But that's not what we're looking for. Cooperate. We're in roughly the right spot. fishing is just kind of RNG, though. We're gonna catch everything but. Oh, I think I need to have snagging. Okay, yeah. To have snagging active. That would affect it. Okay. Really thought that was just used for like treasure maps and certain items you need to fish up. If we can catch one, we can get 4 right off the bat. Identical cast and triple hook. But we still need to get 1 first. There we go. Identical cast. We'll only be able to double catch. Forgot to take a cordial. We'll still get us halfway there. Right. Cordial. 3 of them. 3 of them. They only gave me 1. That stinks. Maybe you can only get 1 at a time because it's like not a collectible, but it's like a collectible. Guess we'll see with this cast. You can still only gave me. Well, that kind of stinks. I don't have enough PP to identical cast, so we'll just have to do 2 the hard way. We wait it out. Be another oyster. I want flounders. Stupid sexy flounders. Yay. This should do it. Peace. The creamiest of oysters. Sounds like the chirurgeons can't get those oysters soon enough. The patients have taken to eating parts of Spagaret's itself. If we delay any longer, there'll be nothing left of the place. While skin rashes and strange eating habits are far from life-threatening, I imagine the sufferers are at their wits' end. We must do all we can to help them. Certainly don't see creamy oysters like this every day. By all means, keep them coming. Well, that makes another shipment's worth. What say we deliver these to Spagarix? Hello, we come bearing oysters. Oh, you're just in time. The patients have already eaten their way through the last batch and were pestering us for more. This fellow was the most persistent of the lot, although he tells me he's well on the road to recovery. I am. Oh, praise be, it's a miracle. Before I started my course of oysters, I'd eat almost anything I could get my gnashers around. Boots, candles, even a tatty old Amaro brush. Spent goodness knows how long picking the bristles out of my teeth, and then I ate those as well, but thanks to you, I'm cured. Actually, the remedy is from an old book, so I think the author is the one worthy of your gratitude. Come now, Master Frithric, there's no need to be so modest. As a matter of fact, you and your scholarly pursuits have become the talk of the Crystarium. First the curators of the Cabinet of Curiosity, and now the patients here at Spagarix. It really is quite remarkable. I wonder, might I be so bold as to request your aid in another matter? You have my thanks. Actually, I'd like to ask whether your tomes mention any cases where dizziness is accompanied by heart palpitations. These symptoms are fairly common in isolation, but cases of them occurring together have been rare until recently. Obviously, we tell our patients to rest as much as possible, but beyond that, there is little else we can do for them. Until we know what's causing it, the chances of a full recovery are slim. Please, will you look into what might be behind it? I'll do everything in my power. It might take a while, but I have a feeling I'll be calling on your services again. Until then, keep practicing. Facet of fishing, Frithric. Accept. Steam level increased. Frithric now considers you a piscatorial pioneer. Frithric is delighted with your efforts. I've made an incredible breakthrough. Nice. Breakthroughs are good. The key to curing the mysterious illness lies in the Bright Mirror clam. Fortunately, they are not native to the source, so we'll have to try further afield. My tomes tell me they can be found near Long Mirror Lake, once part of the Kingdom of Obert. These days, that whole area is part of Ilmeg, and most of us would sooner steer clear of there if we can help it. Although, considering the dangerous places you've been to thus far, I assume you're not scared of a few pixies. Well, Faye mostly seems fine, mostly. Ain't afraid of no pixies. Is that so? You wouldn't happen to be a traveler who befriended Pixie by any chance? You certainly are full of surprises. It seems I found the perfect candidate to go fishing for clams in Ilmeg. There should be some in a river called the Spoiled One if the rumors are true, so are you up to the task? I say, you seem rather confident. Those mischief makers had better think twice before they play any tricks on you. Fortunately, I won't be able to join you on this occasion as I have things to take care of. And no, it's not because I'm terrified of pixies. Perish the thought. Okay, so I guess we're gonna go. Starium delivery commenced. Ilmeg. We'll go Fruitworm. And then we'll go to Wallachdorf. I don't think you have to have snagging on for this one, but the fishing guide says it's like helpful or whatever. I don't know how helpful, but where are we going? This one. This river. We'll just stand in the river and do it. Hopefully this won't take too long. We need 6 of these too. I only ask because some of them you need more of. I mean, you need less of. Like there's 2 steps. If they're anything like the crafting ones that you just need 1 of, it'll probably be the next step. We didn't get any extra from our double hook last time, so we're not going to bother with it this time. We were lucky to get it on first cast, though. Let's hope our luck continues. RNG can be a nightmare when fishing. I mean, we'll keep using identical cash just to guarantee that we'll pull it. Okay, 2 more. Come on, give me another clam. Yay, so this should be it. That's 6. We're coming, Frithric. What's next? Go trout. It's a singular one. That's going to be a storyline. I do apologize for asking you to travel into the heart of Ilmeg. If only there were a more convenient location for harvesting bright mirror clams. Well, well, it seems like your hard work has been rewarded. Your bright mirror clams are being distributed to the patients as we speak. Oh, that's right. The Chirurgeons mentioned they might be paying us a visit at some point, presumably to shower you with praise. Frithric, Zilly, the clams did the trick. How can we ever repay you? Let's not worry about all that now. The main thing is the welfare of your patients. Just a moment. Is that Lob? Yes, he's one of the many who benefited from your efforts. Until recently, he could barely stand without experiencing dizziness and palpitations. Thankfully, the treatment worked exactly as you'd predicted. To tell the truth, he probably would have recovered even quicker if he'd spent more time sleeping instead of constantly talking about the facet of fishing. Now, I don't like to pry, but I hear there has been some discontent among your members. Not to put too fine a point on it, but I thought that if a facet member were to try one of your treatments, then, well, I'm sure you see what I'm getting at. I'll take it from here if you don't mind. Frithric, I'm not one to mince my words, and I won't be starting now. When you first started spouting off about balanced diets and nutritional value, I thought it was a load of nonsense. That was until the Chirurgeons cajoled me into trying your methods, without my knowledge, I might add. Anyway, after a few servings of bright mirror clam, I started to notice a difference. Only then did they tell me it was all your idea, and the scales fell from my eyes. Much as I hate making apologies, I reckon I owe you one. I'm sorry, Frithric. If there's anything I can do to make it up to you, just say the word. No, it's quite all right, really, but if you're feeling up to returning to work, there are a few assignments you can help with. Yes, we could use a lot more creamy oysters and bright mirror clams, and not just for spagarix either. We can encourage the citizenry to include them in their meals, then perhaps some of the illnesses we've been treating will become a thing of the past. Yes, I couldn't agree more. We'll do our best to keep the shipments coming in. It's amazing to think that the knowledge in those ancient tomes could be making such a difference in this day and age. Perhaps this will add a bit more weight to my side of the argument. Of course, if it weren't for your bravery and commitment, none of this would have been possible. Now that Lob has offered to assist us, we should be able to maintain the supply of our existing specialties while exploring new avenues. If you keep reeling in nutritious morsels, I'll see what information I can gather. Facet of fishing, Frithric. Accept. Crystarium delivery complete. Esteem level increase. Frithric now considers you an apex angler. Frithric is overjoyed with your efforts. He now considers you an apex angler. New quest continuing the story of Facet of Fishing is now available. Upon its completion, the Crystarium deliveries list for Frithric will be updated. Let's do this. Level 75, Fishing for Confidence. Frithric appears to have decided on his next project, and the chances of it involving fish are extremely high. Silly, you've come at a good time. Bob was telling me about a young woman stricken with the most unusual combination of symptoms. She's been having frequent dizzy spells, much like I was, but if that weren't bad enough, there's something wrong with her eyes. The whites have gone all yellow. Yes, as far as I can tell, the dizziness is due to a certain thinness of the blood, while the discoloration is a sign of jaundice. She's been like this for a long time, and she's understandably reluctant to go outside, which isn't doing her much good either. Is there something we can do for the lass? Those ancient towns might have something to say on the matter. Lob, follow me. I have a feeling we'll be needing your help, too. Of course you will. To the cabinet. You gonna be upstairs this time now that I didn't actually go upstairs? Yeah. I believe the information we seek should be in this section. Would you mind checking over there? Bloody hell, so much for peace and quiet. Merville, what a surprise to see you here. I never pictured you as much of a reader. I'm not here for my own enjoyment. And as for you, Lob, I thought you'd have more sense than to throw in your lot with these two. Merville, for once in your life, would you shut up and listen? They're the reason why I'm up and walking again. Don't you see? Frithric was right. Is that so? Be that as it may, we should leave healing the sick to the professionals. They've got their duties and we've got ours. Are you fishers or not? Hard not to believe him when he's got that glorious mullet. He never was one for civilized debate, but he only wants what's best for our people, at least what he thinks is best at any rate. He's been around long enough to remember the days when starvation was all too real a threat. That's why Merville and the rest of the old guard are not like to agree with anything that might lead to fewer fish being caught. The younger ones will be more likely to support your cause, though. To be honest, I can't see your talk of balanced diets winning their support, but there must be a way to get through to them. I'm sure there will be time to think about that once I've found a treatment for your friend. I appreciate what you're doing for her, but why don't we have the curators look for the information instead? Meantime, we can concentrate on getting some of the other fishers on your side. I tried that before, but they weren't interested in any of my ideas. You blame them? They're not culinarians or chirurgeons, they're fishers. I think they'd be a lot easier to persuade if you can prove you're worthy of being their leader. Perhaps you could try catching something they've never seen before, like a calico trout. That'd impress them. Yes, that might work. Now all we need to do is locate and catch one of the most elusive fish in the history of our art. No easy feat, that much is certain. To make matters worse, the last known sighting of a calico trout was in Ilmeg, which until now I have gone to great lengths to avoid. Perhaps you could come with me? Since you seem to be on good terms with at least one pixie, they may decide to leave us alone long enough for us to hook our prey. Pixies, rather you than me anyway. Once I've asked the curators to lend us a hand with these books, I'll keep an eye on things at the means. Someone's got to take care of the place while you're away. Okay, so we have to go to... Where's the House of First Light? Right here. Just go to Walligdorf. Why is everyone always so far away from the Aetheryte? There you are. This place is a lot more pleasant than I was expecting, and I haven't been accosted by even one pixie thus far. You don't think they'd play any mean tricks on us, do you? If it's all the same to you, I'd like to catch that fish as soon as possible and get back to the Crystarium. Might even be able to get this done more quickly if we make it into a friendly competition. The first one to deliver a calico trout to Lob is the winner. Okay, so we need to go to 2123. Like here. Can't fish right there. And do we go underwater? Can we fish while we're underwater? No, it's just spear fishing, huh? I like this area though, so we'll just try it. Okay, so I'm in the right spot. Something bites. Yay. Okay, that was good. Back to the mean. Not to jinx it, but so far the first step was the hardest with the eels. Not hard, but the longest. It's annoying. So how did it go? I live and breathe. It's magnificent. Bob, I caught one too. Of course, I expect nothing less from the head of the facet of fishing. Anyone who doubted you will be put firmly in their place when they see what you've caught. I hope you're right. If all goes according to plan, we'll be able to get a few of the younger members to go after the rarer species in your stead. Yes, and that'll give me more time to help here with giving assignments and seeing to deliveries, which in turn will make it easier for you to show your face down at the source a bit more often. Merville and his cronies will find it a lot harder to ignore you that way. Once they see you're taking care of day-to-day running of the facet of fishing, they're more likely to lend you an ear and maybe even a hand. But before all that, there's a certain young lady in need of help. Maybe the curators have dug up the information we were after. Goodness me, I have to admit that had all but slipped my mind. I'm lucky I have you here to remind me. I'll go ahead to the Cabinet of Curiosity, but we'll send word if there is anything that requires your assistance. I shall see you anon. 2 more steps. Level 75, Fishing for Confidence, complete. I found a cure, well, a potential cure anyway. You may recall, Lob told us of a young lady suffering from a prolonged bout of jaundice and frequent spells of dizziness. Although we made an earnest attempt to retrieve the necessary information from the Cabinet of Curiosity, it was when we asked the curators for help that we finally struck gold. It seems that the key to overcoming such symptoms lies in the nutrition-rich fat reserves of certain fish, particularly those spend extended periods out of water. Now, if you think that species like that would be incredibly hard to find, you'd be right. The tomes tell of the amber monkfish, which lurks beneath the sands of Amarang around the hills of Amber, seeking what little moisture it can find. Fishing in a desert sounds like rather a daunting task, but I assume you're up to the challenge. I knew I could count on you. The illustrations in the books are anything to go by. They're ugly little blighters. We should probably try to catch as many as possible, though. Oh, and watch your fingers. Crystarium delivery commenced. Crystarium deliveries list for Frithric has been updated. Okay. So we go off to Amarang. Go to Twine. And we need to change bait. Desert frog. Desert frog. What are we looking for? 13, 14. Roughly up here. Maybe it's on the other side. Let's say right here. Okay. I think this is a medium pull. Give it to me. Be nice if we can catch this one quickly. Yay, one down. As well say it's two. Yeah, we're not doing anything special. That's two. Okay, this is not going to be it, but we might as well pull it up anyways. Add to our fishing log. Another monkfish. All right, well, we're making good progress at least. This is like the last one we need a bunch of. The next quest is the final quest, and I believe it's just like a singular fish. It's a quest line fish. Give me one more. I need two more, but if I get one more, I can identical cast. Nope, that's not it. Crabs. Ship a storm. This should be it. That's six. All right, back to the mean. I target the etherite, not the person standing next to me. Ham and cheese sandwich. I think it would be best to have Lob give the fish to his friend in person, since it was his idea to help her. If you bring them to me, I'll make sure he gets them. That's going to cap me out on scripts. Oh, it's a monster. I do hope the Lob does something to make it look a little more appetizing before presenting it to his friend. For what it's worth, I don't think they come much bigger or uglier than this. I think that should be enough. We don't want her being overnourished. Come to think of it, I don't believe I've ever met our patient, which is not so surprising given her condition. I take it the treatment is going well? Oh yes, she's looking a lot better. Less yellow around the eyeballs, at least. Trouble is, even after eating all that liver, she's still as limp and lifeless as a beach jellyfish. She's always been a bit of a sickly child, but the chirurgeons seem to think it could be something worse, most likely crystiosis. Oh gods, I wouldn't wish that on anyone, not even Merville or him. Oh, I'm sorry, Zilly, since you're not from these parts, you probably never heard of crystiosis. Its name derives from the fact that it only affects those living in and around the crystarium. Although the exact causes are unclear, the body gradually becomes less and less responsive and can even lead to death in some cases. There's one more thing I have to tell you. It's about the patient. She's Merville's daughter, Uriel. We all know he's too proud to come to you, and I thought it best to keep her identity from you in case you refuse to help, but her condition is a lot worse than we'd realize, so it's time to stop messing around. Yes, we can't allow the feud between Merville and myself to jeopardize Uriel's treatment. Though I must say, Lob, I'm rather disappointed that you thought I could be that petty. Your doubts were entirely unwarranted, I assure you. Now that I think about it, the day we saw Merville in the Cabinet of Curiosity, he must have been there to research his daughter's illness, but that was when we thought that jaundice and dizziness were the worst of her symptoms. There's only one thing for it. It's back to the books. You leave this to us. There's a way to cure crystiosis through the nutrients in fish. We're sure to find it. We'll be needing your angling skills before long, I'm certain. Past experience is anything to go by. We'll be sending you off to some fiend-infested bog at the arse end of, somewhere tranquil and picturesque. Facet of fishing, Frithric, accept. Crystarium delivery complete. Steam level increased. Frithric now considers you an aquatic artisan. Frithric is deeply moved by your efforts. New quest continuing story Facet of Fishing is now available. Right, let's finish this off. Level 80, Morsel of the Deep. Frithric is desperate to find a cure for crystiosis, specifically one that includes fish. You came to hear good news. I've got none to give. We're still no closer to finding a cure for crystiosis. Of course, people only started using this name after the appearance of the Crystal Tower, and I have no idea what people called it before then. Having said that, the ancient records speak of Noble's Rot. It has remarkably similar symptoms to Uriel's illness. But as the name implies, it only seems to affect those who lead lives of luxury. We're not likely to find anyone like that around the Crystarium. It's hard to say whether Noble's Rot or crystiosis are one and the same. The only people you might consider wealthy are those wine-quaffing gluttons over in Yulmore. Yulmore, Lob, you're a genius. Am I? It never occurred to me to go all the way there, though the chances of them being able to help are slim at best. A slim chance is better than none at all. If there's a cure for Noble's Rot, they must have their own way of treating it. Can I ask you to keep an eye on things here for a while? Aye. Silly, let's head for Stilltide and ask the local fishers. There's something about the ocean that stirs the soul, don't you think? I wonder how many new species of fish are there waiting to be discovered. I've read about all sorts of fantastic aquatic creatures in the tomes, and I look forward to the day I can see them with my own eyes. Oh, I do apologize. I was rather lost in thought there. We had better start asking the locals what they know of Noble's Rot. Why don't you try that elderly gentleman over there? Hey, old man. What'd it do? Like gout? Noble's Rot. You're not from around here, are you? What do you want? We're terribly sorry to bother you, but we were wondering if you knew anything about Noble's Rot. Huh, that's one name for it, or as I like to call it, rich bastards comeuppance. Loads of people in Yulmore get it, and they've only got themselves to blame. All day they sit there filling their faces with expensive delicacies and drinking themselves senseless. That don't do your body a whole lot of good, so while their bellies grow fatter, the rest of them grows weaker. Luckily for us down here in Stilltide, the Yulmorans seem to think eating Prospero eels cures it. We sometimes find them tangled up in our nets, and they fetch a decent price. I see. Tell me, good sir, where can we catch these eels? Well, it's hard to say since it's nigh on impossible to hook one intentionally. Normally they'd be out of our reach, but they occasionally drift up from the depths. There's no telling how long it'll be before we snag another one. Seen a few at market before, though. Some elf boy opened up trade between Yulmore and Ondo, who sometimes brings Prospero eels to sell. But even they don't seem to catch many, and it's not often they make the journey here. Their merchants came by quite recently, which means it'll be a while before we see them again. It would seem we've reached something of a dead end. Leave it to me. Those eels are no match for the power of friendship. They live at the bottom of the ocean. That's where I'll go. Friendship? My word, your commitment never ceases to amaze me, but are you sure it's not too much to ask? Glad to hear it. I'll be back at the meeting trying to find the best way to cook the eels. Apparently, it's all too easy to botch it and turn them into something resembling regurgitated contents of a seagull's stomach, to quote the book. Sure, the treatment will be a lot more effective if our patient can keep it down. It's a fool's errand if you ask me, but I heard that the Ondo used Moyebi shrimp as bait. Might be worth a try. If your travels take you to the ocean depths, you better be damned careful. I hear there are ancient creatures down there that even survived the flood of light. Beasts that old and that tough won't hesitate to snap up any tasty treats that come their way, including careless fishers. Go if you must, but don't say I didn't warn you. Consider your warning well and truly heeded. It appears that the Prospero eels you seek inhabit the Tempest. You may be able to catch them at the Norvrant slope. Well, that's helpful. We need shrimp. Be the one that goes down. Looking for like 29.14. We have some water around here. Right here, probably. Gonna try right here. Mark for the quest, morsel of the deep detected. We're in the right spot. It's a light pull. Yay! Let's go save that girl. What the frithrick? Welcome back. In all honesty, you'd been gone so long, I thought something dreadful had happened. So any luck? Wasn't gone that long. The easiest one yet. Oh, it's repulsive, but more importantly, it appears to be a fine specimen and is no doubt bursting with nutrition. Now all that remains is to follow the recipe and serve it to Uriel. I'll go ahead and to Spagarix and tell her the meal is on its way. Let's hope she's got a good appetite. I'm actually something of a dab hand in the kitchen, but it will require all of my culinary abilities to make such a grotesque fish look presentable. It'll take a while to cook, so perhaps we can meet at Spagarix a little later? If it was something that would cure me of illness, then I don't think how it looks would make much of a difference. I'm not saying that making food more appetizing isn't helpful or useful in some way, but Talking about treating an illness. Like, cook it to where it's edible and give it to me. I put worse things in my mouth. While we won't see any immediate effects, I'm interested to see what she makes of the flavor. How was it? Delicious, but is this truly the key to overcoming my illness? Still too soon to be sure, but providing our theories are correct, your symptoms should gradually improve if you continue with the treatment. I must say, it's a lot more appetizing than any of the medicines I'd been given until now. You, get away from my daughter this instant. Father, what's wrong? Aren't these your friends from the facet? They brought me a meal to help cure my crystiosis. Worked my fingers to the bone to pay for her medicine, and you think you can do better? These kinds of diseases are caused by an improper diet. The dish Zilly and Frithric put together is meant to give her what she's been missing. Yes, and this is based on the research at the Cabinet of Curiosity, where we found that crystiosis is essentially the same as a disease known as Noble's rot. Condition is common among Yulmorans who use Prospero eel as a treatment. That's why we brought some for Uriel to try. You're using my daughter as a test subject for your madcap theories? There's nothing madcap about eating a balanced diet, and your daughter was keen as anyone to try this new approach. Of course, Uriel isn't the only one suffering from crystiosis, and we'll need a lot more Prospero eels. We were lucky to have Zilly here, but we can't expect her to keep catching them indefinitely. Bob and I can't do this by ourselves. We need experienced fishers like you, Merville. Please help us. You did all this for Uriel, even after everything I said? We'll continue to do so, perhaps with you there to lend a hand. Yes, of course, if you'll have me. Uriel, you'll be out of here soon, I promise. Thanks, Dad. Come on, let's return to the mean. I'm sure they have a lot to discuss. To the mean. So this is going to be it for Fisher Quest. Not bad considering all the fishing. The first couple, the oyster took a bit of time. The first one was the worst one. Eels. I'm pleased we were finally able to get through to Merville, though if Lob hadn't been so discreet, our efforts may have seemed like a shallow attempt to use Uriel's illness to manipulate her father. He acted out a genuine desire to help her, which will continue to be the driving force behind our efforts. Ah, Merville, how's Uriel? A lot better, thanks to you. So much so that she told me to stop fussing over her and give you a lot of hand. Haha, it's good to hear she's in high spirits. As for getting on with some work for the facet, Lob has a few special assignments if you're interested. You just try and stop me. Watch out, fish. Here I come. Incredible to think how much has changed. With everyone working towards a common goal, things should go a lot more smoothly from now on. Having said that, I can't help wondering what would have happened if you and Lob hadn't been there to guide me. I'd probably still be butting heads with Merville and the others, which hardly bears thinking about. But it's not only me you've helped, it's everyone in the Crystarium. Once they get into better eating habits, they'll be much healthier and happier as a result. We in the facet of fishing will be doing our utmost to follow the fine example you've set. While I appreciate that you have your own path to walk, your own challenges to face, you will sorely be missed. If you're ever in the Crystarium, we'd love to hear stories from your travels. All the best, my friend. Level 80, Morsel of the Deep, complete. Esteemed contributor, Facet of Fishing, you have completed all of Frithrick's tasks. He now considers you a warrior of water. Frithrick is eternally grateful for your efforts. There may be other folk in the Crystalline mean who could use the assistance of a talented artist, and ask around and see who is in need of your skills. Live long and prospero.